Do you guys remember the Disney princess Jasmine? She was a strong character, and I think that today she could even be called a feminist. Did you know that in Saudi Arabia, there's a woman who's almost like a real-life Princess Jasmine? She broke all the protocols, and the meaning behind her name definitely marked her destiny. Who is Princess Ameerah, and why could her story be a Disney movie script? What change in her country did she influence? Keep watching to find out how an ordinary girl became a princess and keeps using her position to make a change. But before we get into this, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Curious Sips and don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video. Now let's begin. The story of Amir Al-Taweel could really make a Disney movie script. Because of her long dark hair, she's been called Princess Jasmine, but the fact is, she wasn't born into royalty, or at least not directly, because she was born in a non-royal branch of the Saudi dynasty. Amir may be considered a controversial person, but not in the way you think. This description may be a bit confusing, so let's find out what's the deal with this princess, and how is she similar to the fictional Jasmine in other ways. Amir Al-Taweel was born on November 6th of 1983 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. She was born into a middle-class family together with her 3 siblings, and she was raised by a divorced mom and grandparents. It looks like her parents chose her destiny because in her Arabic name, her name literally means princess. When she got married to Prince Talal, people referred to her as Amir, what basically means princess. When Amir was younger, she dreamed of becoming a heart surgeon, but one encounter in high school changed her life forever. She didn't become a heart surgeon because she graduated from the University of New Haven with a degree in business administration. Later, she took the title of a princess and was still able to help people. How did she become a princess? It all actually happened thanks to a school paper. When she was 18 years old, Amir requested for an interview with Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal Al Saud. Well, her request was approved, and her meeting with the prince that was supposed to be 10 minutes long turned into 2 hours. The man was 28 years older than Amir, but apparently they clicked instantly. They were really smitten with each other and got married in 2008. Amir and Prince Al-Waleed actually are distant cousins, but it clearly meant nothing. Let me tell you, their marriage was quite the opposite of that Princess Haya from Dubai who had to run away from her husband. If you haven't heard about this case, we of course have a video about it, so check it out. Who exactly is the man Amir married? Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal Al Saud was born in 1955, and he is a very powerful person. He's a businessman, investor, and a member of the Saudi royal family. He's the grandson of Ibn Saud, the first Saudi Arabian king, a nephew of all Saudi Arabian kings since a grandson of Lebanon's first prime minister. Al-Waleed is divorced, and Amira was his 4th wife. The prince got married for the first time when he was 19 to his cousin Dalal bin Saud, the daughter of King Saud. They had 2 children, Prince Khalid and Princess Reem, by the way, who is only a year older than Amira. In 2008, Prince Al-Waleed was listed on Time magazine's annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world, and in November of 2017, Forbes listed him as the 45th richest man in the world, with a net worth of $18.7 billion. He owns an investment company and a few hotels, including the 4 Seasons Hotel in Paris. He's also a philanthropist and often donates money to various causes. For example, he contributed $17 million to the victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. He's also considered to be a supporter of female rights in the Saudi world. The prince owns private yachts, planes, and has 3 palaces. Maybe I should have said it in the past tense form because in November of 2017, him and his fellow billionaires were arrested in a purge after Saudi government created an anti-corruption committee. The allegations against Al-Waleed included money laundering, bribery, and extorting officials. He was released from detention in January of 2018 following a financial settlement with the government in which, according to Wall Street Journal, was $6 billion. But in March of 2018, Al-Waleed was dropped from the world's billionaire list due to no information about his current net worth. But let's go back to Princess Ameerah, who went from living in an ordinary house to a palace with 300 rooms covered in marble. It's actually rumored that it takes an hour and a half to walk through the whole building. She didn't even have to go outside for a walk. Amira didn't want to be that girl who sits and does nothing, and since the beginning, she wanted to make an impact. In her country, it wasn't that easy, yet she had used her position of power to go against the social and religious norms in the Middle East. She's actually known for her refusal to wear a hijab, but she also dresses modestly. At the time, which is around 2011, that was a huge and symbolic step for women in her country. Amira did and still does use her status and platform to be an advocate for women's civil rights and empowerment in Saudi. She was one of the main forces behind Saudi women being allowed to drive. She even went on the Today Show to talk about it because she believed that it was one of the issues in Saudi Arabia that had to be addressed. When asked if she wanted to be the first woman to drive legally in the country, she said that she didn't care if she was the first or the first of 60th as long as the women were allowed to drive. Amira added that it was a social need and that she was aware that there were other priorities for women in the Saudi and they were simply their basic rights. Her comments really did make some difference because later the Saudi women used Facebook and Twitter to call for females with international driving licenses to use their cars on June 17th of 2011 in something they claimed that wasn't a protest. Manal al-Sharif was held for 10 days and faced charges of besmirching the kingdom's reputation abroad and stirring up public opinion. All she did was post a YouTube video of herself driving. Later, the recording was deleted, but it still managed to get more than 500,000 views. And more than 50 women took part in the action on June 17th, but no more arrests were reported. What's the deal with the driving ban for women that technically no longer exists? Saudi Arabia had no written law that specifically banned women from driving, but senior government members issued religious edicts that prohibited them from driving. The only law related to this was that women had to seek permission from male relatives for various decisions like getting a job, and that included the ban on driving. How did people deal with this? Families had to hire private drivers to transport female relatives. Amira, in an interview with Forbes in 2011, said that it was not only an economic barrier, but because an average woman spent more than 30% of her salary on a driver, but it was also a social barrier. A woman couldn't go to some places because of the driver. She had a lack of privacy and sometimes safety issues. But Amir believed that if the world was to look at Saudi Arabia differently and not view them as a country that suppressed women, the driving ban was a symbolic issue that had to be changed. And it finally happened in 2018 when Saudi Arabia issued driver's licenses to women weeks before the ban was lifted. It was part of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's program to modernize some aspects of Saudi society. Prince Al-Waleed was very supportive of his wife. Amir even said that it was a blessing that she married a man who saw his power in empowering others. As I've already said, the prince was all for supporting women's rights. He believed that by supporting females, you support the community, and 60% of his company employees were women. And while the prince was there cheering on his wife, their marriage didn't last. But I'll tell you about that in a moment because right now it's about our favorite topic, and that's the British monarchy. Did you know that the British royal family is friends with the Saudi royals? The friendship developed over time, but in November of 2010, Princess Ameerah was joined by Prince Charles for the reopening of the Savoy Hotel in London, which Prince Al-Waleed co-owns. And in March of 2011, Amir, together with Prince Philip, opened the Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal Islamic Studies Center at the University of Cambridge. The princess got to know various members of the British royal family at similar ceremonies, and maybe that's why she and her then husband were invited to Kate and William's royal wedding. That's when her jet black hair caught everyone's attention and she started being compared to Princess Jasmine. Princess Ameerah wasn't only fighting for women's right to drive. Her husband made her the co-chair of Al-Waleed bin Talal Foundation, and through this position, she got to help people thanks to a variety of support programs. She fought for women to keep custody of their children after divorce and help people affected by disasters. She even traveled to Pakistan to help flood victims. Amir also worked on teaching people how to manage their finances and how to solve crises and their roots and find long-term solutions. Her work didn't go unnoticed, and in 2011, she received the Humanitarian Award for her work at the foundation. She was also the 4th on the world's 100 most powerful Arab women list in 2012 and won the Women Personality of the Year award. The princess's choice to use her platform obviously led to some tensions, and even though the prince was very supportive of everything she did, in November of 2013, Princess Ameerah and Prince Al-Waleed split. Their divorce was rather a scandal since divorced women are frowned upon in the country. Besides that, the reason for their breakup was kind of controversial. It was rumored that Prince Khalid, Prince Al-Waleed's brother, warned him about Ameerah's comments to the press and said that if she didn't stop there would be harsh consequences. He basically advised the prince to control her and stop her from speaking to the media. But even years after the divorce, the two still speak very fondly of each other and remain friends. Amira even calls Prince Al-Waleed her mentor and inspiration. After the divorce, Amira continued her philanthropic work. She worked with President Bill Clinton and Jordan's Queen Rania to move forward the rights of women in the Middle East. She also wanted to influence how divorced women are viewed in Saudi, saying that she wanted to be the one that women look to when they tell their daughters, look, she got a divorce, and see what she's doing now? She's an independent woman. She's doing something good for her country. She's a role model. Amira didn't stay single for that long though. In September of 2018, she married the Emirati entrepreneur and billionaire Khalifa bin Budi Al-Muhairi, who is the chairman of KBBO Group, an Abu Dhabi-based group with investments in healthcare, money exchange, and retail. The wedding ceremony took place in Paris at a venue that is very popular among celebrities. The celebration was attended by Oprah Winfrey and her friend Gayle King. The whole thing was very private and kept in secret. The guests weren't even allowed to take photos inside the venue and had to sign non-disclosure agreements. A year later, in August of 2019, Arabian news outlets announced that the couple welcomed their first child together, their son Zaid. Princess Ameerah and Princess Jasmine not only look very similar, but they both went against the traditions and influenced a change in the kingdoms. And I hope that Amira will be able to make even more differences in her country. So what do you think? Do you think that Amira and Princess Jasmine are similar? Do you think that Princess Ameerah uses her platform well? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to become part of our Curious Tips family. Until next time.